Welcome to this
That's
Wicked Wednesday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tobacco. We're coming today live as we do every single day, noon to 2 Eastern, from the Question Tequila Studios in downtown Manhattan. Before getting into today's show, let's go downtown to the New York Stock Exchange, check in on the economy, which is meandering this morning, down about 50 points, the Dow as we speak. And Bitcoin is still in about the same range as yesterday, between 7,300 and 7,500. We'll get into more of that economy stuff later, but the big breaking news, unfortunately, again, yesterday is another mass shooting, and it happened right here, right across the river from New York in Jersey City, New Jersey. And to break that down with us today and talk about why it happened due to anti-Semitism, we're seeing a massive rise in this stuff. Allison Joseph joins us. Thank you so much for joining us again on Liquid Lunch. You are the founder and director of Jew in the City, so you're probably as in tune with the Jewish community. And I know, you're talking about and trying to bring advocacy and awareness to anti-Semitism all around the world. But, another terrible tragedy, and it's based in anti-Semitism. What's happening? What can we do? How can we put pressure on politicians? I know you're part of a group. I know Ron Lauder just put up $25 million to try to fight against anti-Semitism, but how can regular people help?
I think that we need regular people to be just advocates, and I think we need regular people to, first of all, reach out to your Jewish neighbors, your Jewish coworkers, let them know that you're a supporter and that you stand with them. The thing about this, attack is that, they've now, on my way over here, they released the identities of the perpetrators or the suspects, but before that came out, in my mind, I had several different theories of who they could have come from or where they could have been from, and the truth is that there's multiple different groups and nationalities and religious backgrounds of where anti-Semites come from right now, and it means that it's really coming from every direction, whether it's coming from Trump supporters or people that hate Trump, or today it was black Israelites, the news is reporting. It's coming from every direction, Muslim extremists, and so I think, as for the Jewish community, I think that we have to unite together because our enemies seem to be united against us, coming from every group. But what I would say for regular folk is out there, reach out to the Jews in your life, speak out against anti-Semitism when you see it. And if you have a bad interaction with someone who's Jewish, don't assume that this is the entire community. Just realize that there are bad people in every group and support us.
Yeah, like if I have a disagreement with Frank, I don't say, well, now I hate Italians. I just hate Frank at that moment.
Just hate
you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't.
Understandable.
It seems like, and I guess this is the plight of Israelites throughout time. That's how they're forced to the little area, on the shoreline there, and they're surrounded by enemies that, for some reason, the chosen people have been chosen to be the most maligned, it seems, through history.
This is in every age. It seems like this is how it always is. And look, as an Orthodox Jew, I look to our faith as a form of strength, look to, trust in God and returning to our heritage and a unity, because it seems like no matter what we do for worldly solutions, there always seems to be anti-Semites that crop up in every age, from every corner. And so we do need to look for some sort of spiritual solution as well. But again, what I would say for just regular people out there, you can be the change, you can be a supporter, you can be an ambassador, and we certainly need supporters in the Jewish community right now to stand by our side. With atrocities throughout Jewish history, there are always the righteous Gentiles that stood up, and it's terrifying to be a child that learned about the Holocaust. And I had nightmares about it in 2019.
That's for sure.
Allison, as you mentioned, we learned the identity of the perpetrators right before we went on air, and apparently at least one of them was a devotee at one point of the Black Hebrew Israelites. For people that don't know, what are the Black Hebrew Israelites? What do they do exactly? Who are they? What's their ideology, if any?
So my understanding, and I'm not going to say I'm an expert in this, is that they believe that they're the true, children of Israel, and that the Jewish people, at least the ones that call themselves mainstream Jewish, are not real and not true. And there seems to be some tension around that. I mean, I don't think it's a very mainstream group or religion.
No, I pass them in Midtown all the time. They're screaming. They look anything but mainstream. But, you and John both alluded to the uptick in anti-Semitic incidents. We've seen incidents like swastikas and vandalism. We've even seen, especially members of the Orthodox community, attacked randomly with things like the knockout game. But this seems, at least in America, like a whole nother level of anti-Semitic violence. I'm curious, what do you think is driving the uptick in not only the number of anti-Semitic incidents, but the level of violence in these anti-Semitic incidents?
So I think the sort of the scary thing is that I think there are people that are latent anti-Semites that are just sort of waiting around. I actually got a comment like this one point from someone on YouTube who told me that she's waiting around with her Louisville Slugger until the next time it's legal. Hitler should have finished off his dirty work, and I'm waiting around with my Louisville Slugger until the next time that we can kind of come out again. So, and again, we're seeing these attacks in Brooklyn against Hasidic Jews. Obviously, there's fundamentalist Muslims that do terror acts against Jews. The two shootings that we had in synagogues were from people on the far right. Now this is a group with a manifesto in the black community. It sort of feels like it's coming from every direction, and it's a little bit terrifying for sure. But I posted today on my Instagram, we have to stand proud, we can't cower. We also have to make sure that everywhere we go, we're great representatives. Because again, like for the Jewish people to walk around as the chosen people, we have to have sort of the most exemplary behavior because the world, the eyes are always on us. But again, regular folk, anyone out there can be an ambassador. If you hear an anti-Semitic joke or slur, you can stand up to the people around you and say, don't speak about the people like this.
Go ahead, Frank.
No, I was just going to ask on another note. Donald Trump's been very vocal about stamping out anti-Semitism at a lot of college campuses as part of the opposition to the BDS movement. Yesterday, he issued an executive order that basically redefined Judaism as a nationality rather than just a religion, so that any of these colleges that engage in BDS would not necessarily be eligible for federal funding. I've heard mixed views from people in the Jewish community about this. Some don't like the idea that any nationality other than American would be considered their nationality. Others think this is a welcome step. Do you have any view on this whole situation?
I think it's good. I mean, I think at this point obviously President Trump brings a lot of controversy the moment you say his name.
Sure,
there's a lot of opinions there. And I try to not talk about politics too much since I talk about religion, and they're both impolite topics. But what I will say is that we will take friends and acts to help our community from any place that we'll get them. And BDS is a serious problem. I know a lot of friends that are in the Democratic Party that are feeling like they've gotten thrown under the bus recently with sort of this new anti-Israel noise that's happening, movement that's happening within the Democratic Party. As I said before, from every angle, we have hate, so we need to unite and really look for friends wherever we can find them.
Well, let me ask you this. I think, awareness. I saw Ron Lauder saying that the Holocaust was only 3 generations ago, but 60% of college students don't even know the Holocaust existed, which is pretty scary. So maybe, we got to put pressure on our legislators who formed our education policies to keep teaching this as part of history in public schools and grade schools so those atrocities don't happen again. But also I think sometimes, including myself, maybe some people don't even understand the differences in Jewish people, and could we do like a little Jewish Trivia 101?
Sure, ask me anything.
Okay. I want to ask you, what are the characteristics of a Hasidic Jewish person?
So a Hasidic Jew is part of the Orthodox community. The Orthodox community generally defines themselves as people that observe the Sabbath, observe kosher, and observe the laws of mikvah. And they sort of are a subset in the ultra-Orthodox or Haredi world. You will notice them by the payas they have generally. They're called, or side curls. They wear hats. They have beards. They started in the 1800s in Europe, and it was really a movement that was brought about by songs song, and instead of being sort of the people that sat and sort of studied Talmud all day, they were more of the peasants in the fields that weren't connecting to the Jewish text. And so their leader, the Baal Shem Tov, really started them with song, prayer, joy, and that was where the movement came out of.
Okay, so the Hasidic Jewish people wear the large hats.
Yep.
They have the side curls.
Yes.
And they're that sect was born out of like the party animals. They were like the partiers. They were like singing, dancing, working in the fields, right?
That was their history.
Drinking, you know, like that.
They do like
that type of stuff. Okay, good. So when people say Orthodox,
yeah,
that's different than Hasidic. Hasidic is a subset of Orthodox.
Correct.
But Orthodox is like a whole nother layer.
So it's like this. The Orthodox community, if we're going to break it down in a very simplistic way, and people will complain later that I was too simplistic, but what can I do? I don't have so much time.
We're doing a 101 here.
So we're going to break Orthodox down between modern Orthodox and ultra-Orthodox, or Haredi, because some people don't like ultra-Orthodox. Within ultra-Orthodox Haredi, you have Litvish and you have Hasidic. Now, all the time people are thinking that Litvish are actually Hasidic. They're not. These are the people that sort of, their tradition was to study the Talmud and sit in classes. So when you see the curls in front, that's pretty much Hasidic, or the fair hats, pretty much Hasidic. When you see just plain black hats, that may be ultra-Orthodox, but not Hasidic. It's super confusing.
All right, so, but look, you know, sometimes people just throw their hands up. Like, you know, one guy wears nothing,
right.
One guy wears the big hat,
Correct.
Another guy, and women, you know, there's
right.
other things for women too. But seriously, you know, sometimes maybe if you understood a little more. So the Hasidic are like the party people, right? Just to put it in simple
in their
layman's
historic terms, yes.
And the
Litvish.
They're like, that's the geek squad.
They're the ones that study the Talmud.
Squad. They want to study the Talmud and all that stuff. Now, these people that are more Jewish people that are more modern, and they wear regular clothes, not
right.
the curls, not the wigs, and you know, but the guys who wear just the yarmulkes,
right?
What sect is that?
Well, they could also be Orthodox.
I'm saying.
Yeah, they're also modern Orthodox, right? So in modern Orthodox, you have actually, like, I would consider myself modern Orthodox, but the right-wing side of modern Orthodox. So my community is completely adherent to all laws. We just believe in secular education. We're more mixed in with the world. And then you have left-wing modern Orthodox that, you know, the women might be wearing pants, they might not be covering their hair. So it's really, we divide ourselves into little boxes. So everyone can sort of have their place, but at a time like this, it's really important to understand that Jewish values are that we believe that we were all made in the image of God. We believe that we're supposed to be honest people, that we're supposed to be here to love our neighbor as ourselves. There are for sure people in our community that don't act like this, that do bad things. It is an embarrassment, it's a shame. But we're a diverse community. When you see one of us, it doesn't mean that we're like the other people you interacted with. And it's important to take the time to get to know human beings. I love sitting on planes. I love sitting and getting my kids' haircut and talking to people that look different than me and just showing that ultimately we're all human beings.
Yep.
And there's bad people out there. There are, but take the time to get to know someone that's not like you.
Yeah, you know what? In a time like this, you see one of your Jewish brothers and sisters out there, go over, shake their hand, give them a hug, show them that you're in
Well, unless it's a female in the
Unless it's a female, then don't hug,
but
exactly.
give them whatever the proper greeting is.
Yeah.
We talk about Christian persecution. We talk about anti-Semitism because the country that we live in was founded on faith, and that's the most important thing, observing whatever faith fits you. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back right after this with Dr. Nan Hayworth.